Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of our ArchiCAD tutorial training. I am ArchiCAD and today we are going to be looking at cutting walls under our model 5. So we are in model 5 and we've done doors and windows. If you want to see what we did on doors and windows, do well to check out my previous upload. Today we are going to be looking at cutting walls, and what you are seeing on screen are the 3 types of cutting walls you can achieve using ArchiCAD. The first one, which is at your far left, is the custom cutting wall, which ArchiCAD gives you on default when you draw a cutting wall. And the second one is a customized cutting wall to suit our daily life use, while the third one is a custom cutting wall. The second one should let me call it an ideal cutting wall, while the third one, which is the one by the far right, is a custom cutting wall. So the ideal cutting wall is the general one we use in our everyday architecture, which has mullions and frames, whereas the custom one could be customized to any shape, any size, any drawings, etc. So we are going to be looking at how to achieve these 3 types of cutting walls in today's session. If you are new to this channel, do well to hit that subscribe button so that you will get updated with subsequent posts. While hitting the subscribe button, don't forget to turn on the notification bell. That's very important, else you may not get updated quick. So without wasting much time, let's head right into what we have for today. Opening the plan view. Now, where you can find your cutting wall is if you go to the tool bar, you will see that we've done most of the commands here. So we've done walls, doors, windows, openings, columns, beams, slabs. We are coming to staircase, but today we are going to look at cutting walls, which is it's directly above skylight tool and directly below skylight tool and directly above the morph tool. So we click on cutting wall. On a default, when you want to draw a cutting wall, after clicking on the command, you click on the point where you want to start the cutting wall and click on the point where you want to end the cutting wall, or you specify your distance. So either way it works. And once I'm done drawing my cutting wall, let's head over to the 3D to see what we drew. So let's check. This is what we drew for the record. That's a default. Whenever you draw cutting wall for the first time in ArchiCAD without any settings, this is what comes out. So, but you can customize it into the second option, which I showed you. This, you can customize it into the second option. So let me move it closer so that you can see the two side by side and make comparison. So that's one. If you go to the 3D, you can see this is the one we just drew. So we want to make the second one. There are 2 ways to do that. First of all, you could either choose to go to the settings and set it before you draw the second one, or you make a duplicate of this and then set it. So either way it works. So if you want to still use the default setting in the future, you can leave it at that. But if you don't need it at all, then you can just, without anything selected, just go to the settings and configure it at once. So let's select this and reconfigure it into the modern kind of curtain wall we use in our everyday building. So select it, go to the settings, and then this is the panel. This is the settings. So first of all, go to the scheme and remove every panel that you don't need and keep the ones you need. So the total height of a building is, okay, let's first of all remove all the panel we don't need. We don't need this, which is 300. We don't need it, so out. We also don't need this 600 and this. Okay, this 900, this 600. So take that out here and take that out. As you can see, if you want to add more, you can simply click on the plus. Okay, but I think this is enough for now. You just need one panel. If you want to add, if you want to make it double, feel free, you can add. So 1500 times 2, making 3 meters, which is the total height of a building. Alright, so now that you have the total height of the building, you can set the mullion to the size you want. You go to you click on frames, and with the mullion selected, you can set it to what we want. Any type of mullion is fine. You should know the onions, like you should know what you need to do. You know the sizes of what you are using to work. So let's use the 50 by 50. So 50 by, this should be 75, but I choose 50, and then the distance between each should be 25. So the distance here is 25, and we have a 15 mm thickness glass, and the rest is 10 mm. So I think that's, as you can see, 20. Okay, it works. Look at it down here, 20, and we have a little space there, 30. So that's what works. Now we've done that, we can set the panel material to glass. So you go to the panel materials, click on main panel, and then turn on the glass properties. So this is glass, turn on the glass properties. So we are good. You could change the glass properties. Instead of glass blue, you can make it fast clear, anyone you want, or mirror, or satin. Mirror, you know what mirror is. Satin is kind of like a tinted black glass. So I think that should work. Let's use that one for variation's sake, so it doesn't look exactly like the first one I did. Alright, so that's it. And then make sure that since you are adding a mullion, there should be a transom, except you want it. If you are not adding a transom, that means you shouldn't add a mullion, so that it will look uniform. Except you want a straight panel from bottom to top, then you could just delete one panel and increase the height of the other. I hope I am making myself clear. So if you want to see the transom, you click on it, it will bring up the dialog box, and you make sure you set it to how you set the first one. So same thing, 50. So we have a transom and we have a mullion. So let's see how the scheme looks like. Okay, the transom is not showing, but I think it's set. So with that done, you say okay. Now if you say okay, you will notice that your cutting wall has adjusted from this to this. Now let's look at it in the 3D. As you can see, so we have our mullion and our transom. As you can see, so it seems the mullion, then the transom is flipping to the back. So let's make it right. Transom, sorry, click on transom. Alright, so this is supposed to be 25, not 50. Yeah, so that is why it didn't split. So 25 front, 25 back, and now we have perfectly, as you can see. So we are good. Now for the last one, which I call custom cutting wall. I'm going to be using a different shape so that you will understand better, because if I use the same shape, you might feel that, oh, maybe it's cheating or something like that. So we are going to work with a different shape entirely for the custom cutting wall. So let's do that. Now first of all, let me reduce the length of these ones, make them smaller so I can have space for custom cutting walls. So before you begin drawing a custom cutting wall, make sure that you have your profile. What is a profile? A profile is an outline, a typical outline of how you want your cutting wall to be repeated across rows and columns. I hope you understand. So a custom profile is an outline or a sample of what you want ArchiCAD to repeat across rows and columns. So let's get that profile done. So in order to achieve that, you use your polyline tool and your morph tool. I showed you how to use a polyline tool and also how to use a morph tool. So let's go and use a polyline tool. Polyline. Now I clicked on polyline. Polyline is found in the second tab under the toolbar or toolbox where you see document. So you go down, you see polyline tool, or you can press Ctrl+Shift+L to just switch from any command you add to the polyline command. So now with that being in power, we have to draw a sample shape. The total height of a building is 3 meters, and I need my sample to be, at least half the height. So that's 15 for one side. Also, I need the width to be that of a door, which is 900. So I'll be having 15 by 900 as my total shape. So let's do this. Remember, my rectangle tool is one selected. Let me draw it down or here. Anyway, it's fine. You can draw it anywhere on your screen. So you have 900 by 1500, or we can even make it 900 by 3000. Anyhow, it's perfect. It doesn't need. But then when you are making this drawing, you should also remember the settings in your profile. So you could make it 900 by 3000 or 15 by 18. What other variation do we have? I think that's just it. Alright, let's not waste much time. So now we've had this, I want to draw little shapes all through here. Maybe they are regular shapes, maybe irregular shapes, but let's just draw both regular and irregular. So I should be having one circle here, one circle, one. Let's have a triangle. Okay, a square. Square is fine. A triangle. Okay. A circle. So we're just having fun with shape. Okay, so let's play around with the shape. So we should be having this over here, this over here. Let's take the size down. I just want to make something. So making custom sizes, it doesn't look like we are stuck with something. So alright, so I think this is enough. This is enough. If you feel like adding more shapes, go ahead. If you feel like adding more shapes, you can. It's a free exercise. So now we have this kind of shape, this kind of panel. Let's perforate it because you can't see anything in 3D. It's just where are we? Okay, it's just line, so you cannot see it in 3D. Now we have to convert it to morph first of all before we do anything. So click on your morph tool, go back to design tab, click on the morph tool. Let's first of all convert all these little shapes into morph. So you, after clicking on the morph tool, you hold your space bar and click on each shape to make them morphs. Now secondly, select click on the main shape to also make it morph as well. With morph selected, I hold space bar and click on the main space, so everything is now morph. Now click on your arrow tool, select the morph you created and move it to one side of the screen. So let's move it here. Alright, this is the morph, the main panel morph. This is the other shapes morph. Now what we are going to do is, I want to use this little morph to perforate this bigger morph. So I will first of all increase the thickness of this morph. You can do them interchangingly. First of all, increase the thickness of the both morphs. First of all, this one is going to be the thickness of the glass, which is 15 mm, and these little ones are going to be way thicker, maybe 100 mm, because I want to be using them to perforate the glass or whatever material this is. So let's go to the 3D. To achieve that, you have to be in 3D mode. So let's go to the 3D. Now we can see our little shapes and our main shape. So let's increase the thickness. So select it, click on any edge, make sure it's at the edge. There are 4 edges here. So Don't say you clicked somewhere and it wasn't working, because it won't work. Okay, so I think this is updated, so it works. So, but to avoid any confusion, just click on the edge, look for an edge, click there, and then we have this command, which is the to command, to push and pull. So don't just push it to a random figure, except you want to do a random panel, but be specific. One of the criteria of being an architect is attention to detail and specification. So I want to make the thickness 15 mm, so I type 15 and I say okay. Now it's not coming out big yet. If you click another place else in the anticipation to quit the command, you're going to spoil what you draw. So just right click on screen and say okay, or you escape. Any of the two will work. So now that's done, you do the same for the rest of this, but make sure that they are way thicker than this. So I'm going to be using 50 mm. Yes, 50. I select the circle, click on the edge, make it 50, enter, and then I say okay. Same thing here. So let's do that for the rest. So notice that I didn't click on the edge, I didn't click on the point, so it's giving me another command. Be careful. So you go back to the tube command. Okay, so I could just So if you notice what I was doing, I was using the other ones I've drawn as reference to the height. Well, you should go the manual way if you don't understand. So now that all my little shapes are, extruded, I can group all of them. Select all of them, right click and say unite or union, so they all become one. So if I click one now, they all get selected. Now with that done, I'll go back to my ground floor and move them to inside this main shape, or I move the main shape to inside of it. Any of the two will work. So drag from this point as my reference to this point. Now if you go back to the 3D, you see that this shape is on top of this shape. So for us not to have any casualty or to encounter any issues while subtracting, let's move the shapes down a bit. So move the shape down by 25, so it really sinks inside the main panel. Now with that done, I will select those shapes, right click and say subtract from this guy. So as you can see, it has now subtracted. So we have this our panel. I can set the material to wood or aluminum, because it's usually metal. Those perforated panels are usually metal, so I'll just put it this aluminum and okay, aluminum panel. So we have one panel. Now what you have to do after you've achieved to this point, notice that this shape is different from what I used in my first one. This was just a stack of rectangles. Alright, now you can select it either in the 3D view or in the plan. So when you select it, you click on File, you go to Libraries and Objects. So you say Save Selection As. What do you want to save it as? Curtain wall. So you will see two options: current editing plane and horizontal plane. Now make sure that horizontal plane is selected, because you could be editing on an elevation. That's when you can use current existing plane. But while you are editing on the floor, which is the ground floor, make sure that horizontal plane is in check. If you have not subscribed, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that when I drop up subsequent posts, you will get notified for sure. Alright, so let's continue. I hope you are all following very well. If there's any part you don't understand, please watch the video over again, then watch it slowly. If you don't still understand on organize your question and drop in the comment section, I will be looking out for it, and I will address it in a way that is best possible. Alright, let's go back to what we are doing. You say continue and save to bring up a dialog box. Now this is the first one, the curtain wall panel 1, which is what we saw in the first custom panel. So let's save this as curtain wall panel 2. So say yes. Now telling me this new custom curtain wall panel 2 will be available in the settings dialog box as relevant objects which recognize it. So all the relevant objects are recognized with just panel. So anything panel wall, you have curtain panel 2 inside. Now to achieve the panel wall with this frame, I will have to first of all draw. Let's duplicate this to that point, which you can use Ctrl+Shift+V to this point. So I have this. Now I can go to the settings. Click on it to go to the settings and change the panel. Go to the panel. Change the panel to curtain wall panel 2. So first of all, I go to main panel type and geometry. Click on custom. So after clicking on custom, I'll go to the curtain wall panel settings and remove and change the curtain wall panel 1 to curtain wall panel 2. Alright, so with that done, I see I can make the sequence, take the sequence to your anyhow. Okay, yeah, well, work 2015 is okay. So I say alright. So you see, isn't this nice? This is cool. This could be used for nursery school, secondary school, secondary school. When you do this, don't think it makes sense. If it's nursery school, primary school, and so on and so forth. So this shape will really work for this kind of design. Now, if you don't like this mullion and stuff, you can take it out and just have the plain shape like that. However works. So you just go there and take the mullion out. Delete. Okay. So if that's deleted, you see that we are going to be having one big whole panel, which doesn't really make sense. So remove the partition, division. this is without the finish, but we have to do so. I hope you are following. Notice that the last one is compressed because it's not properly and you know how to fix that. You just increase the length to give you what you are looking at. Let's see what else you are having. Alright, so we've come to the end of our tutorials for today. I hope with this you are able to come up with custom cutting walls, and manipulate it to any desire, any shape of your desire or choice. If you are new to this channel, here we teach ArchiCAD and other softwares, another architectural software. Do well to subscribe and turn on your notification bell so that you will get updated with subsequent posts. And I hope you learned a lot. Alright, so like I said earlier, if you are unclear about anything, watch the video again, and if you still don't understand, organize your question and drop in the comment section. I'll be looking out for them. Alright, that's enough. Have a wonderful day.